Right here, everybody wants success, but not everybody is willing to go through the pain, the grind, the struggle it takes to get there. This ain't just about me. This ain't just about you. This is the story of every single person who stared failure in the face and said, I will not quit. Quitting is easy, right here. But champions are built on those nights when giving up feels like the only option, and you push anyway. This is not a speech about luck. This is a speech about sacrifice, resilience, and the unshakable will to keep going when the world tells you to stop. Yeah, buddy, this is the story of everyone who refused to quit. When you wake up in the morning and look in the mirror, right here, the person staring back at you is the only one who decides whether you're going to quit or whether you're going to fight. Quitting is always right there, whispering in your ear, telling you it's easier to stop, right here, telling you it's safer to walk away, telling you that the pain ain't worth it. But quitting has no destiny. Quitting leads nowhere. Quitting is a choice that locks you in the same place you started. Something right here, a choice that chains you to mediocrity, a choice that robs you of the future you could have built with your own two hands. Fighting, on the other hand, is not just a choice. It's something greater. It's written in your soul, right here. It's the destiny carved into you before you even knew what you were capable of. Every single time you fight through the pain, every single time you push one more rep, right here, every single time you take one more step forward when your legs are screaming to stop, right here, you are stepping into that destiny. It doesn't matter if you are in the gym grinding out sets or if you're in life grinding out another long day at work. The principle is the same. You choose to quit, right here, you shut down the process. You silence the story before it's written. But if you choose to fight, if you choose to keep moving forward, then you are stepping into the role that was designed for you all along. Here, you think champions don't feel pain. You think successful people don't feel fear. You think legends don't have nights where they want to give up. They all feel it. They all live it. They all face the same walls you face right here, but they make the decision to fight. They understand that quitting is an option, but it's an option that cancels the future, and they are not willing to give that future away. They lock into the fight right here. They embrace the struggle. They carry the weight because they know that destiny is on the other side of it. When you fight, you connect to a power bigger than yourself. Right here, you begin to tap into something that people who quit will never understand. That fire in your chest when you keep going, that burn in your muscles when you refuse to drop the weight. Here, that ache in your soul when you keep showing up no matter how heavy life feels, that is your destiny calling you forward. It's not just about one workout, one day, one task. Here, it's about stacking those moments together until they become unshakable proof that you were born to fight, not to fold. And when you look back, you won't even remember the times quitting looked so tempting. Right here, you'll only remember the nights you fought when no one was watching, the mornings you showed up when no one believed in you. Here, the days you held the line when everything inside of you screamed to let go. Quitting is easy because it takes nothing from you. It demands nothing. It asks you to simply lay down your weapons and walk away. Right here, fighting is hard because it demands everything. It requires your energy, your focus, your willpower, and even when you think you've given everything, it asks for more. Here. But that's where destiny lies, in the more. In the moment you thought you had nothing left, but you dug deeper in the instant where you believed it was over, but you pulled out one last surge of strength. Here, that's the point where ordinary people become extraordinary, where those who quit fade away and those who fight rise up. Because destiny doesn't reveal itself to the weak-hearted, right here. It waits for the ones who fight with everything they have. You can't buy destiny. You can't borrow. You can't come from someone else. You fight for it. You bleed for it. You sacrifice for it. Here, you have to understand that every obstacle in your life is not there to stop you. It's there to test you, to measure the weight of your will, to see if you will quit or if you will fight. And if you keep fighting, there, if you keep showing up, if you keep grinding day after day, then destiny will open its doors and let you through. But you have to earn it, and the only currency destiny accepts is struggle, persistence, and a refusal to quit right here. That's why I say quitting is a choice, but fighting is a destiny. You were built to fight, your story written in the ink of struggle right here. And every setback is just a test to see if you're worthy of the destiny waiting on the other side. There will be days when quitting feels like the logical choice. When you're tired, when you're broken, right here, when everything you've tried has failed and nothing seems to be moving forward, those are the days destiny is watching most closely. Because anybody can fight when it's easy. Anybody can fight when the crowd is cheering, when the path is clear. But destiny is not revealed on easy days. It's revealed in silence, in darkness, in the lonely hours when nobody knows what you're going through. When you fight in those moments, right here, when you refuse to quit in those hours, that's when you prove to yourself and to the world that you are connected to something greater than a temporary struggle. Right here, That's when you step into your destiny. You may look at people who made it, who climbed to the top, who built their success brick by brick, and think they are different from you. They are not different right here. They just refuse to quit. They felt the same pain. They faced the same doubts. They heard the same voices telling them to stop, but they refused to listen. They didn't let quitting define them. They let fighting shape them. Right here, and because of that, their destiny unfolded. That's the difference between a life that is forgotten and a life that is remembered. Right here, that's the line between those who stay where they are and those who rise to where they were meant to be. The ones who quit are lost in the crowd. Right here, the ones who fight carve their names into history. Every battle in your life is preparing you for something greater. Every fight you endure is shaping you for the destiny that is waiting. Right here, you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control whether you quit or whether you fight. Quitting is the door that closes. Fighting is the path that opens. Quitting leaves you empty. Right here, fighting fills you with the strength of knowing you never gave up. And when you keep fighting, when you choose that path again and again, you begin to transform. Here, you start to realize that the pain you thought would break you is actually building you. The setbacks you thought would end you are actually sharpening you. Right here, the struggles you thought were curses are actually gifts preparing you for the weight of your destiny. You don't quit because it's hard. You fight because it's hard. You don't quit because you're tired. You fight because you're tired. You don't quit because it hurts. You fight because the hurt is the only proof that you're moving forward. And if you keep stacking fight on top of fight, day after day, year after year, right here, you will see the destiny that was written for you unfold right in front of your eyes. That's why quitting is nothing but a choice, a moment of surrender, a weak decision that erases your potential. Right here, but fighting, that's your calling, that's your destiny. That's who you are meant to be from the very beginning. And every time you choose to fight, you are proving to the world and to yourself that nothing, no obstacle, right here, no pain, no setback will ever stop you. Pain is something every single one of us knows. It's the one language spoken in every gym, in every workplace, in every household where somebody is chasing a dream that feels too heavy to hold. Pain is not unique. Pain is not selective. Pain comes for everyone who dares to step outside their comfort zone, everyone who pushes their body, their mind, their spirit beyond what feels safe. But the truth is, pain is temporary. The soreness in your muscles after a workout, it fades. The sting of rejection after you fail, it fades. Right here, the burn in your lungs when you're giving everything you've got, it fades. Time passes and pain passes with it. But what does not fade, what does not die, what does not leave is the power of persistence. Right here, the eternal proof that you stood tall, that you kept going, that you didn't let the temporary break you. Before the eternal was revealed, persistence is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Here, those who talk from those who act, those who quit from those who rise. Pain tricks you into thinking it will last forever. It screams in your ears that you can't take another step, that you can't lift another rep. Right here, that you can't go through another failure. But pain is a liar. Pain is short-lived. Pain is nothing compared to the strength persistence builds within you. Persistence is the one force that doesn't die. Here, it stacks with every repetition, every sacrifice, every moment you refuse to quit. It becomes a power no one can take away, a power that echoes long after pain is gone. That's why people remember fighters. Here, that's why people remember legends, not because they didn't feel pain, but because they persisted long after the pain tried to stop them. Think about the bodybuilder who grinds through a set when his muscles are screaming, when every fiber of his body is begging for relief. The pain in that moment feels endless, but a few hours later it's gone, and what remains is growth strength and proof that persistence outlasts pain. Right here, think about the entrepreneur who sacrifices sleep, who gets rejected over and over, who fails more times than most people even try. The pain of those failures stings in the moment, but years later, nobody remembers the sting. Right here, they only see the success that was built from relentless persistence. Think about the student who studies when their friends are partying, who feels the pain of missing out. Here, who feels the weight of pressure is pressing down on them. That pain feels suffocating in the moment, but it fades, and what lasts is the knowledge, the achievement, the opportunities created by persistence. Right here, in every arena of life, pain is temporary, persistence is eternal. The problem is most people confuse the temporary for the permanent. They feel pain and they think it's forever. They think the discomfort is their destiny, right? They think the suffering is the end of the road. And because they mistake temporary pain for permanent reality, they quit. But those who understand the truth, those who know pain will pass, they persist. Here, and persistence opens doors pain tried to keep shut. Persistence carries you when motivation runs out. Persistence drives you when energy is gone. Persistence pulls you through the fire and leaves you stronger on the other side. And that's why persistence is eternal. It becomes who you are. It becomes your story. It becomes your legacy. Pain may test you right here, but persistence defines you. Every great achievement in history is a story of persistence outlasting pain. Athletes who broke records did it by pushing through injuries, exhaustion, and moments where pain told them to stop. Inventors who changed the world faced years of failure, ridicule, and frustration, yet their persistence turned those failures into breakthroughs. Leaders who inspired nations carried the weight of criticism, betrayal, struggle, yet their persistence shaped history itself. None of them were immune to pain, but all of them were fueled by persistence. The pain they felt was real, but it faded. The persistence they showed is eternal. Right here, written in history books, carved into monuments, spoken about for generations. That same eternal persistence is inside of you. If you are willing to endure the temporary pain, can make you question everything. Hey, it can make you wonder why you even started. It can make you feel like the dream isn't worth it. But persistence answers those questions with proof. Proof that the pain was just a season. Proof that the pain was just a step. Proof that the pain was nothing compared to the life you built by refusing to stop. Every scar you carry is evidence that pain was temporary and persistence was eternal. Every story of survival, every testimony of triumph, every victory in your life comes back to the same truth. You persisted when pain tried to break you. That is what makes the human spirit unstoppable. That is what makes greatness possible. Here, that is what separates those who wish from those who achieve. The weight you carry now may feel unbearable, but it will not last. The nights of doubt may feel endless, but they will not last. The loneliness, the sacrifice, right here, the exhaustion, they will not last. Pain is like a storm. It crashes, it roars, it tries to scare you, but eventually it passes. Persistence is like a mountain. It stands, it holds, it endures no matter how many storms come. Passes, the mountain is still there, stronger, sharper, more defined than ever. That's you when you persist. You become unshakable, untouchable, eternal in your strength. Right here, people will look at you and see the mountain, but only will remember the storm you survived, the pain that was temporary, and the persistence that carried you through. Every time you choose to persist, here you are choosing the eternal over the temporary. You are declaring that your destiny matters more than your discomfort, that your purpose matters more than your pain, that your fight matters more than your fear. Here, persistence doesn't ignore pain, it accepts it, it embraces it, it uses it as fuel. Because pain is not the enemy, pain is the proof you're pushing, the signal you're growing, the reminder that you're alive in the fight. Thing right here. Pain is the temporary price you pay, persistence is the eternal reward you earn. And when you understand that, when you believe that, when you live that, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Look at the strongest people, the ones you respect, the ones you admire. They're not strong because life was easy. Right here. They are strong because they persisted through pain you could barely imagine. They carried weights you never saw. They cried tears you never knew about. They endured struggles they never told you, but they persisted anyway. Here, that's why they shine now. That's why they stand tall now. Because persistence left them with a strength pain could never take away. And if they can do it, so can you. You have that same fire, that same capacity right here, that same eternal persistence within you. You just have to remember when pain comes knocking that, it will not last, but what you build through persistence will last forever. Persistence is eternal because it rewrites your story. It turns failure into resilience. It turns struggle into strength. It turns broken moments into powerful testimonies. Pain doesn't get to write the final chapter. Persistence does. And that chapter will be read by others right here. It will inspire others. It will live beyond you. People won't remember the exact pain you went through, but they will remember that you persisted. They won't know the nights you cried or the mornings you doubted right here, but they will know you didn't give up. That's why persistence is eternal. It echoes long after the pain is gone, long after the struggle is over, long after you are gone. Right? Your persistence becomes legacy. So when you feel like quitting, when the pain is heavy, when the struggle feels like it will never end, remind yourself of this truth. Pain is temporary, but the power of persistence is eternal. If you can endure, if you can hold on, if you can keep going when it would be easier to stop, then you will discover a strength that never dies, a power that lives forever, a story that will inspire not just you right here, but everyone who sees it. That is the gift of persistence. That is the power of persistence. Here, that is the eternal force waiting on the other side of temporary pain. Every single person walking this earth is writing a story with their life, whether they realize it or not. Some write a story of hesitation, of excuses, right here, of opportunities missed because they chose to quit when things got hard. Others write a story of resilience, of grit, of standing tall in the face of storms that would have crushed weaker spirits. The pen that writes that story is not held by chance, by luck, or by circumstances. It's held in your own hands. And every decision you make either sharpens the story or erases it. When you choose to quit, right here, you allow the pages of your life to be filled with what could have been. You let the ink dry on unfinished chapters. But every refusal to quit, every time you fight when it would have been easier to fold. Right here, you are rewriting your story into something far greater than the pain you're living in the moment. Life will try to convince you that the script is already written, that your failures define you. Right here, that your setbacks are permanent, that the story you've been living so far is the story you must continue. But that's a lie. The story can change with one choice right here, and that choice comes in the moments when quitting looks like the only option. You see, the first draft of your story is written by your struggle, but the final draft is written by your refusal to quit. Every time you refuse to quit, you tear out the pages of defeat and replace them with the chapters of resilience. Every time you push through the fire, you carve out a line in your story that screams, "I kept going when I had every reason to stop." That line, that sentence, that moment becomes the turning point in your life, the point where everything changes. Right here, the point where your story stops being ordinary and starts becoming extraordinary. Think of every legend you admire, every hero who inspires you, every icon you look up to. Their stories were not written without failure, right here, without pain, without nights of doubt. Their pages were filled with setbacks, but they refused to let those setbacks define their ending. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, and if he had quit something right here, the story would have ended right there, a forgotten kid with potential that never saw the light. But he refused to quit, and because of that refusal, the story was rewritten into one of the greatest athletes of all time. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb, and if he had quit, his story would have been one of wasted effort. But his refusal to quit wrote the story of human progress. J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection from publishers, and if she had quit, the world would have never known the stories that inspired millions. Their lives remind us that the story is not decided by failure. Right here, it is decided by whether or not you quit. Every time you refuse to quit, you are giving yourself the chance to discover the next chapter, the one you can't see yet, the one waiting on the other side of persistence. Right here, quitting locks the book shut. It tells you the story is over, but persistence keeps the pages turning. Persistence allows you to write scenes you never thought possible. Right here, imagine how many lives have been cut short, not because the person lacked talent, not because they lacked opportunity, because they quit too soon, because they let temporary defeat write their final story. Right here, now imagine your own life. Imagine what chapters are waiting for you if you just refuse to quit one more time. If you just hold on one more day, if you just take one more step. The story you want is not written in ease. Right here, it is written in struggle, but the ink of that story is the grit that refuses to quit. Your story is not only about you, it is also about those who will read it, those who will be inspired by it, those who will learn from it. Right here, when you refuse to quit, you give permission to others to do the same. Your children, your friends, community, your peers, they all see the story you are writing, and when they see you stand tall in the face of hardship, right here, they realize their story can be rewritten too. Quitting spreads like a disease. It infects everyone around you with the idea that it's acceptable to give up when life gets hard, right here. But refusing to quit is contagious. In the same way, it sparks something in others that lights a fire in their hearts. It reminds them that no matter how dark their pages look, they can still write something great. Here, your story becomes a blueprint, a testimony, a beacon for others who need to know that refusing to quit changes everything. You may not think of yourself as an author, but every action you take is a word. Here, every choice is a sentence. Every refusal to quit is a paragraph of strength that stacks into chapters of greatness. Some people live their whole lives with the story half written because they quit too early. Here, but you have the power to keep the pen moving, to keep adding chapters, to keep discovering plot twists that only persistence can reveal. That's the beauty of rewriting your story. Your failures don't erase your potential. Here, your struggles don't erase your worth. Your past doesn't erase your future. Every refusal to quit proves that the story is still alive, still breathing, still waiting to unfold. And the more you refuse to quit, right here, the more your story transforms from one of struggle into one of triumph. Think about the hardest moments in your life, the times you wanted to quit, the times you thought it was over. Here, maybe it was a heartbreak that shattered you, maybe it was a failure that crushed you, maybe it was a season of loneliness, poverty, or fear that made you believe you had nothing left to give. If you had quit in that moment, here, your story would have ended there, but you didn't. You fought through it, you persisted, you refused to quit, and because of that, you are here, still writing, still fighting, here, still proving that your story is greater than your struggle. That's the power of refusing to quit. It doesn't just keep you alive in the moment, it rewrites the way you look back at your life. Here, what once was a chapter of pain becomes a chapter of victory. What once was a page of defeat becomes a page of resilience. You begin to see your story not as one of suffering, right here, but as one of strength. Quitting makes the story predictable, but but refusing to quit makes the story exciting. Nobody wants to read a book that ends after the first problem, right here. Nobody wants to hear about someone who gave up before the climax. Nobody remembers the character who walked away when it got hard. We remember the warriors, the survivors, the dreamers who pushed until the last page. Right here, your life is the same way. People won't remember how easy it was for you. They won't remember the times you coasted. They won't remember the days you had no struggle. They will remember the moments you fought back. Right here, the times you rose after falling, the chapters you wrote when the odds were stacked against you. That's the story people admire. That's the story that lasts. That's the story that matters. Every refusal to quit is not just a choice, it's a transformation. With every act of persistence, you are no longer the same person you were yesterday. You become stronger, wiser, more unshakable. Your story evolves with you. It deepens. It gains texture and meaning that quitting could never give. The scars you collect along the way are not signs of weakness. They are the punctuation marks of your story, right here, proof that you lived, that you fought, that you endured. And the more scars you carry, the more powerful your story becomes, right here, because it shows you didn't just survive, you thrived in the face of battles that could have broken you. So every time you feel like quitting, remember that it's not just about the moment, it's about the story. If you quit, you allow the page to close unfinished, incomplete, unsatisfying. But if you refuse, if you fight, if you push, you rewrite the ending, you reshape the meaning, you transform the narrative. Right here, you have the power to make your life a story of resilience, a story of grit, a story of victory. Every refusal to quit is another line in that masterpiece, another brushstroke on that canvas. Right here, another step toward a legacy that will inspire long after you're gone. And the beauty of it all is that the story is never final until you decide to quit. As long as you breathe, as long as you fight, as long as you refuse to give up, the story is still being written, and it is being rewritten into something greater every single day. You choose persistence over surrender.